Hello, it's Amanda. I wanted to come on here for a second presentation and show you where I'm at this time. So this week we worked on some mapping. I'll start off by showing that. I tried doing it in Mindamo. I just wanted to try something different. I did get some information here, and just a little recap. I'm doing my artifact on how to count macros. Um, and at first it sounded like something that's going to be pretty simple. I know how to count macros, but after the exercises that we've done the past week, I really needed to take a step back and look at it through a learner's eyes. And while I may understand it quite easy, others may not. So I need to make sure that I build this artifact or lesson where it's easy for other people to understand. Um, so yes. Anyways, I'm at the point of the mapping. Kind of just the different ideas. So this is what I had, and then I thought to myself, this is not working. So I'm a big pen and paper type of person, and that's what I did. I decided to do it that way or this way instead that you see here. I just grabbed some computer paper, did it, and wrote out different ideas. There's a lot of different scrap pieces of paper that I had as well. Um, so this artifact lesson, I want it to be for individuals that want to lead a healthy or maybe a healthier lifestyle, or just knowing, tracking your food, different ways of tracking your food intake. So in my mind, I want to use Google Classroom as kind of the platform of where to go so they can link out to the Captivate file. And then within the Captivate file, I want to have the information for what the lesson is about. In this case, like I said, it's how to count macros. And I'm also considering touching on how to find your macros, or maybe linking out to resources where they can find that information. I want to give live examples where it shows the lesson going through a certain food item, and I'll show you that example in a minute. I also want to make sure that the learners or the individuals are engaged. So throughout the lesson, I want to have different knowledge checks that include fill in the blank, drop downs, um, where they can actually work through a food item themselves. And then at the very end, I want to include a quiz. Just, I'm thinking 10 to 15 questions of how to count macros or how to find out your macros. I want to touch on everything that the artifactor lesson is going to go through. And then at the end of the lesson, I want the learners to be comfortable knowing that they'll be able to count their own macros, whether they have the resources to do that. And when I say resources, I mean the internet sites or the different applications that are out there, which I know may be seldom because so much of us do have the smartphones and technology to use. Which is why I also want a different one of the outcomes to be I want them to know where to go to locate these resources. Um, and while I was doing this, I actually reached out to an old nutrition coach that I had in the past for some of the competitions that I did. I wanted to bring in a SME. While I know how to track and do macros, I'm not an expert on it whatsoever. So I wanted to bring in an expert. Luckily, I know a few, so I reached out to one, and they're going to be willing to help. So I'm sorry, this is my map. Now at this point, I am still working in Captivate, and before I've changed it a bit. The background here, as you can see, it looks like some pancakes. I did have it throughout all of the lessons, all of the slides. I decided to remove it, and I like it not on all of the slides. So this is where I'm at now. I removed the background, a little bit of information. How do you find your macros? Now this may end up being on a couple different slides just because there may be a lot of information, and already it looks a little cramped, and there is a lot of information just on this one slide. So I may break it up. I will break it up. I just don't know how many different slides it may be. I also found a video. Now it is 12 minutes long, and the more I think about it, that's not a quick video just to watch. So I may go out and see if there are maybe a shorter one. I need to rewatch this video and see if it really touches on information I want to be taken from this artifact or not. Now, once I go through that, I just threw in a couple of knowledge check questions. It's just going to be 2 of them. This question is actually from the video. I just want to make sure that the video is watched. Then they're not going to be graded. They will give incorrect responses. From there, I want to go into how to count your macros. So each macro is worth a certain number. Those numbers added up, actually, they should equal the calorie, but as I go through the lesson, I'll touch on why some of them don't. And then this is where I start to throw in examples and how to count it here. So as you can see, on the food item itself, it shows that the calorie is 80, but after counting the macros, it's 84. I'll touch shortly on why it's different. Same here, 24 and 25. Then after I do those, I'm going to go to a food item where it has fiber and just different ways people count. Some people include fiber, some don't. So as you can see, or I see it, it's just growing as I go along, because I don't want there to be any gaps. And then here at the very end, I want to end with a quiz. I put 10 questions here, but I'm thinking 10 to 15 just because there is going to be a lot of information. And then the end of the slide, I have references here that I'm going to use. I also want to make sure that I let the learners know that they can reach out or link out to these website links to use as resources if they need to when they start tracking or if they want to learn more. So that is where I'm at right now. If you have any feedback or suggestions on what I should do, that would be greatly appreciated. All right, thanks and good luck to everybody.